All right, man. Another episode of Fueled by Craft. As I record this, as me and Markel record this, the NFL draft is in about less than 48 hours. So we thought it was an appropriate time to get on here and give our opinions about this upcoming draft. What's the deal, bro?
Hey, shit, bro. What's going?
Hey, man, it's a lot of good things. A lot of interesting takes that we both have about this upcoming draft. Just to get right into it, I think it's appropriate to start with the Las Vegas Raiders because they have the number one pick. Once the draft order was set, I think the entire world knew once Dante Moore decided he was returning to college that Fernando Mendoza can pretty much pencil him in as the number one pick for the Las Vegas Raiders. Um, New head coach, Tom Brady's involved. Uh, I don't think this isn't something to overthink. Do you have any opinions on this one? Like I said, I think this one is pretty much penciled in. It's not too much meat
Yeah,
on the bone for this one.
nah, for sure. I think, he the most hyped quarterback coming out, so it make the most sense. The
Yeah,
Raiders definitely need a quarterback. And
yeah,
you're not going Todd Simpson at one, or none of them other ones. So
100%.
pretty easy. Pretty easy.
And with the acquisition of Ashton Gency last year, I
Ooh,
think that
my
exits,
bad.
now you good. Because they pretty much got a lot of good skill positions, to be honest. You got Brock Bowers, you got Ashton Gency. I think the only thing you are missing to see some potential is a quarterback. And with Clint Kubiak coming in as a first year head coach, I think he wants to get his guy. Fernando Mendoza is a winner, proven at Indiana. Shout out to the Las Vegas Raiders. I think we can pencil that one in. I think the draft starts, though, with the number two pick. My favorite team, the New York Jets, our first of two picks that we have in the first round. Um, the two names floating around for this pick are Ohio State's Arvell Reese, edge slash linebacker, Swiss Army knife, or David Bailey, who's a bona fide edge, the best edge in college football this past season. Um, Arvell Reese, first year starter for Ohio State last year, 6.5 sacks, 10 tackles for a loss, 6'4", around 245 pounds. The numbers do not jump off the screen for him too much because, like I just mentioned, first year starter and he was a pretty versatile defender. So he's got a lot of times that, coming off the edge, sometimes at, middle linebacker. So similar to Michael Parsons, I think his time at Penn State, he only had 6.5 sacks. So don't get too caught up in the numbers here. What do you like about Arvell Reese before we move to David Bailey?
Uh, I'm gonna keep it short since he do play for the other team. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? But
Yep. Michigan
he's
man.
explosive athlete for sure. They say like, would you rather take David Bailey because he's set in stone at his position and showed he can produce. Even though it was just for the 1 year at Texas Tech.
Yep.
Arvell Reese he can move around, but would you rather be like a master of one? Or
Yeah.
just have a just all right at a lot of other stuff. But he definitely got a lot of potential. So
Mm-hmm.
I see why you will make the investment at pick two. But
Yep.
my thing is, on a defense like that, where you got potentially first rounders on every level,
Yep.
like could that inflate how you look at one guy over the other? Like you got Sonny Styles supposed to be top 10, Caleb Downs, maybe top 10, one of the D tackles going first round, corners
Yeah.
was pretty solid. So when you want a stacked team like that, it's great players look better with other great players, you know what I'm saying? So
100%. Um.
I see why they would make that investment at two, but when
So
you
where
go
would you
into the
go with that
Jets,
pick? Where would you go with
nah,
that
for the
pick?
Jets. All right, well, I think so. Taking David Bailey just increases maybe the floor, and then taking Arvell Reese probably raises the ceiling if it all
Yeah.
goes right. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
David Bailey probably the safer pick, just so you know what you're getting coming off the edge, and then at worst, even if Arvell Reese don't work off the edge, he can play linebacker. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes. Yes.
I like both picks. You can't go wrong. But why not take the player who's perceived to have the higher upside? So I ain't mad at it.
Yeah. As some would say, the winner of this decision is whoever has the third pick because the other team just makes the decision for you.
Yeah.
As a Jets fan, me personally, up until about 2 weeks ago, I was definitely David Bailey. 14.5 sacks this past season in college football. Not only is he getting sacked, but he's making plays in the backfield, second in the nation in tackles for a loss. Similar in stature, 6'3", 250 pounds. So both of these guys are like physically imposing guys. But me, as a Jets fan, with the acquisition of Demario Davis, who we drafted a few years ago, I think Arvell Reese, especially with a guy like Glenn Davis, who is on an imaginary hot seat, I think this is one of those picks where you got to say, are you drafting for right now or are you drafting for the next coach? If you're drafting for the next coach, then you get David Bailey. Like you just said, you know you're going to get a guy, bona fide edge, 10 plus year guy, you know what I'm saying? Fast with his hands, aggressive, has the NFL size already, graduated from Harvard or Stanford in less than 4 years before transferring to Texas Tech. So you know he's smart. Don't have to worry about, him getting distracted or not picking up and learning the plays. But Aaron Glenn, you probably only got 5 games to perform before you are back in that hot seat. So I would take Arvell Reese, man. Like you said, got the higher ceiling. I think outside of David Bailey, Arvell Reese is a guy that we don't have to take off the field. Rather we have him swinging off the edge, or we do drop him back at linebacker. And with a mentor like Demario Davis, who people were saying, well, he's an old linebacker, set a career high in tackles this past season at that old age. So still very active. I think he can bring a lot to the game on the field, but also I think you put a mind like Demario Davis in a body like Arvell Reese. I think you can cook something. And we just acquired Minkah Fitzpatrick. So you got a lot of voices on all 3 levels that I feel like Arvell Reese is fine no matter where you put him. So I'm not too concerned about him not being locked in at one position like other guys are. Pretty much a long-winded answer of saying I'm gonna take Arvell Reese with the number 2 pick just because the ceiling is higher. We need to win right now. You don't let these type of athletes go by. And we have another pick in the first round, and I think that's where we can play it safe. I think when you got the number 2 pick, let's hit a home run. We can get on base with the 16th pick.
I think going back to something you said, and I don't know if this is true or not, but if the Jets got the mindset that Aaron Glenn got 5 games to kind of show us up, and y'all brought in Geno Smith to be quarterback, that's so bogus.
Well,
that's not fair at all. But
it's not fair, but it's one of them things.
It's the league, though. I get it.
It's the league. And it's like no quarterback was really available. And I think we have the plan of 2027 is when the Jets really come up. We got 2 first-round picks. We have 2 or 3 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks. So we all over that board. In the draft where they say it's going to be the most stacked, we got guys like Jeremiah Smith, Arch Manning, and Lenore Sellers, the cornerback from Notre Dame that I'm blanking on. Like these it's a lot of blue chip guys being mocked, and we kind of loaded up there. So I think Geno is a bridge guy. Now in them 5 games, I'm not saying we got to be 5-0. We could be 2-3 if 1 or 2 of them games was close against a really good or bad team. It's just how it looked. You know what I'm saying? And if injuries play a part into that as well, I think we just can't see 5 games again of no interceptions. Fumbling the ball 3 times a game, quarterback throwing 120 yards at best. You know what I'm saying? Losing the turnover battle by 3 to 4. You know what I'm saying? No positive. We can't see that. It has to look better. So with that being said, with the number 3 pick is owned by the Arizona Cardinals. They are rumored to actually be traded out of that because they're looking like they want to solidify that O-line, and they think they can do that later in the draft. If you're Arizona, what would you do at 3, or would you be entertaining the idea as well as trading back and maybe talking with the Chiefs or something like that?
Depending on, I know the Chiefs got pick 9, so if you can get 9 for 3, and obviously probably something else, to bolster that up, you got to consider that. But I don't see how the Cardinals pass up on Jeremiah Love. I think the Jets don't need him. They still got Breece Hall, and then they got obviously bigger needs, but Arizona it really ain't been no juice out there. I think that instantly gives the fans somebody to get behind, and gives just some juice to that team, some juice to that community, and then he's not just a running back. You getting 2 players in one. He receiver, running back,
3 down back.
And he's shown, for the past few seasons, that he's not just some one-hit wonder, So I don't know why you let him get past 3, but if that's not where your mind is at, I can see him taking David Bailey or Love, and if not, then just trade out of there because one of them O-linemen gonna be there at 9, So if you don't want neither one of them blue chip prospects, then yeah, trade down, get an additional second rounder or late first rounder or something like that, and then
Hmm.
just go from there.
If if I'm Arizona, I'm with you, man. The a quarterback's best friend is a good run game. A good running back can do wonders for an offense. He can set up a lot of things, especially a team like the Cardinals who might not be working with too much. I believe in Marvin Harrison Jr., so I think you definitely do have something there in the pass game. Jacoby Brissett. So if you put a running game to that thing, similar to what the Bengals did, they skipped on Penei Sewell and went Jamar Chase and went to the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah,
Haven't been back since, but you see the success, and let's go give the quarterback the best chance to win. Obviously, in the trenches, that's very important. But if we can get some weapons and buy him just a little bit of time, you know what I'm saying? He have time now and don't got nowhere to go. James Conner coming off a really bad season-ending injury. I would
yeah.
also go Jeremiah Love, but I think they go David Bailey. I think that trading down for offensive line is a kind of a smoke screen. I think they're kind of running with that. They were third in the league in the fewest amount of sacks, so they were not getting after the quarterback this past season. Arguably, defensive edge might be the second most important position behind quarterback as far as impact on their respective side of the field. So I think Arizona do go David Bailey, like we mentioned with the Jets earlier. Best defensive edge in the draft. Flashes speed mixed with power, explosive. Led college football in sacks last year, and not only is he leading in sacks, making plays in the backfield, second in the nation in tackles for a loss. So I'm with you. But I respect if they trade back and decide that let's go buff up the offensive line. And if we do trade with the Chiefs, I was saying that it was rumored that the Chiefs, since they also do have 2 first-round picks, pick 20 something and pick 9 would go to Arizona, and the Chiefs would get that first pick. So I wouldn't be mad at that, getting 2 picks in the first round.
I think
Tennessee. Oh, go ahead.
I
What's
think
up?
I think a team like Arizona, you got so many needs. I get just not wanting to take one player. To just you took and you still got a chance to trade and get more picks than just the one. So I get why they would want to trade
Yeah.
down, but when it's a
Limit the
player like
risk.
that, yeah, but when it's a player like that, I don't think you pass that up. They compare him to McCaffrey and Barkley and all that, and he
Yeah,
different.
yeah,
He not
yeah,
them. He different.
yeah.
But
Uh,
it's either you take that player, or yeah, you trade down for more assets. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. And I think also, if I'm not mistaken, Arizona also has a pick in the first round later. Or maybe that was a mock I seen where they mocked him getting traded. Let me check that out real quick. But
I think they
yeah,
I think they just got 3,
okay. Yeah, you're right.
which
You're
is
right.
why you probably want to trade down
Okay,
and
yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
go.
That was
So
I was looking at something else. So
because
yeah, I'm with you with
the
that,
Chiefs
man.
the Chiefs got 9 and 29. So if
Right.
you can get that, you can at 9 you can get a solid tackle or interior lineman. And then at 29, you know it's still the backup running back from
Jadarian
um
Price.
yeah, from Notre Dame solid. So it's other players you can get. But I think
Yep.
when you got a potential Hall of Famer like that, and that's high praise. But like with the
Yeah,
skills
yeah.
he got, I could definitely see that.
100%.
But playing playing running back, and then you can also catch 60, 70 passes out the backfield. That just you might need the offensive lineman a little more, but
You could do with
this running
that.
back this running back put points up. So.
Yep.
And it's
Uh,
like, would you rather you draft the offensive lineman and then you ain't got no running back, or shoot, this running back, if he a top 3 pick, he should be able to still work without the best O line.
yeah,
So
if he is who we think he is, he gonna make
yeah,
something happen, and we gonna
for sure,
try to give him some protection as soon as we can. I'm with you.
for sure.
I'm with you. I would take Jeremiah Love with that third pick, but if the Cardinals do pass on that with trading back or going to David Bailey, Tennessee has the 4th pick.
Mhm.
Former Jets head coach Robert Saleh, first year head coach, known to be a defensive guy this past season, was just working with the 49ers on the defensive side of the ball. So I would imagine he's going to carry over that defensive philosophy over to Tennessee. But they are working with last year's number 1 overall pick in Cam Ward, who I think it has the potential to be a really good quarterback, all pro level quarterback if he is as good as I think he will be. But he will only get there if, like we just said, you help him out, make the game easier for him. And if the Arizona Cardinals do pass on Jeremiah Love, I think this is the spot for him. They do have Tajee Spears and Tony Pollard, and I think that's even better, to be honest. In the league where we're seeing a lot of injuries, a lot of lower leg injuries to these skill positions, I think adding depth, a player like Jeremiah Love only makes the offensive better. Like you said, he can do a lot in the run game, but just as dangerous in the receiving game out the backfield, wheel routes. If he got the ball in his hands, he's got home run ability. So I like Tennessee taking Jeremiah Love. That's what I got him mocked at. 36 touchdowns in his collegiate career, 2,882 career running yards, and that is with splitting reps with who we just named, Jadarian Price. So really impressive numbers for a guy who wasn't just even getting all the carries. What would you do for Tennessee if David Bailey or they traded back from that third pick? What are you doing if you're Tennessee at 4?
Yeah, if Jeremiah Love there, that's a no-brainer. You run up to the podium as fast as possible and you get him in
Turn the card
Tennessee,
in.
you know. But if he go at 3, it's either David Bailey or Sonny Styles. You know, Rob Saleh had Fred Warner out in San Francisco. I could see Sonny Styles playing a similar role, you know, and then he obviously had the great combine workout and whatnot, you know,
Yeah.
but I think I think you can't go wrong bolstering that defense, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously you want to give Cam Ward a little help, you know. And truthfully, I think Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears, they solid enough running
Yeah,
backs, you
those
know.
are good guys.
I think Cam Ward gonna take a step forward, you know, this year. And then you got Brian Dayball at OC. You know, I feel like that's just as important
Yes.
as adding a player on the
Yes.
field, you know. But so we'll see. But if Jeremiah Love there, you definitely pair him up with Cam Ward. But if not, you go bolster that defense with either Bailey on the edge or Sonny
So let's
Styles,
say, for the
second
sake
level.
of, let's just say this is our mock draft.
Yeah,
So let's say we got Fernando at 1. Are you in agreement that we can go Arvell at 2 for my
for
Jets?
sure, for
All
sure.
right. So we'll say David Bailey went 3 to Arizona. I think we both said you don't pass up on that. Is that cool?
Because the Jets canceled David Bailey last meeting, didn't they? His
Yeah.
top 30 visit.
Yeah. But our GM came out today and said that top 30 visits are utilized differently with each NFL team. Some teams use it as smoke screens. Some teams use it for just medical reasons. Some
Mm-hmm.
teams use it to get more familiar if they weren't familiar. So I think that's more of a, we already know who this guy is. We've talked to him unbeknownst to, the public. Y'all don't know what we doing behind these closed doors. And I think
Yeah,
let's just throw out the smoke screen to see if somebody is willing to trade up, you know what I'm saying, to come get
yeah,
one of those Arvell Reese,
yeah,
David Bailey. So we'll go David Bailey at 3. We both say Jeremiah Love at 4. That takes
yeah.
us to the New York Giants with the 5th pick. They also, with the recent trade of Dexter Lawrence to the Cincinnati Bengals, they get the 10th pick in return. So we'll see them right back up on the board here in a little bit. I'll start with you, man. Who do you, or what do you want to do? Go first or me go first on who
Nah,
we?
for sure. I got it.
All right, let's go. Who do you have the Giants taking at 5?
I think you go Sonny Styles.
I
I think
also
you
have
put
Sonny Styles.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think you put him right in the middle of that
Yes.
defense. You know, everybody's saying not only a great player but a great leader. You know,
Yes.
so I think you put him in that defense. John Harbaugh, you know, starting off his new regime.
Yep.
Dexter Lawrence wanted to be traded. You know, get him out of there.
See
You
you.
know, and yeah, new blood. Put him right in the middle, and then
Yep.
that's for that to be your first pick. Start your campaign as head coach. I think that'll be a great investment. You know, I think you could go offense, you could reach for a receiver, and it probably wouldn't be a reach, you know, but when you got a guy like that still on the board,
Yeah.
and then, you know, you dealing with teams like quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts, you know, for better or for worse, you dealing with Dak, and you got Jaden Daniels who can run and
Yes.
whatnot. You need a guy
Yes.
like Sonny Styles, you know,
Yep.
patrolling the field. So I say Sonny Styles right there.
I am in agreement. Not to backtrack, we're gonna stay with the Giants, but a lot of people believe, especially now, that Sonny Styles is also in play at number 4 for Tennessee, just given the fact that Robert Saleh is the defensive guy, just play with Fred Warner. Sonny Styles is drawing Fred Warner comp. But I digress. I also agree with Sonny Styles at 5. If Jeremiah Love is at 4, like we have him,
Mhm.
6'5", 243 pounds. Started off as a safety and switched to a linebacker in 2024. In that season, he had 100 tackles. Um, All-time combine, 4.40. Like I said, this dude is 6'5", 250 pounds running a 4.4. 43-inch vertical. Best linebacker score that we've seen. Like you mentioned, you're going to get some athletic quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts can get out and get loose. For Dak Prescott, you got to respect the legs. You know what I'm saying? So you need a guy who can go, east to west, north to south, whatever direction you need him to run in. He can get to that point at a fast speed. The fact that he did play safety, I feel like that's an advantage as a linebacker. As a safety, similar to a quarterback, not that none of these other positions do this, but it's part of your job to know what everybody's doing. Other
Yeah.
players would make them great at other positions if they take the initiative to do that. A defensive lineman don't gotta know what a corner's doing, but if you do, that's what makes them great. You know what I'm saying? But your job is to know what everybody else is doing. So taking that from safety and going to linebacker, I think will only help them out. The athleticism allows him to be elite in both phases, run game, getting dropping back in coverage. Highly intelligent, was a green dot recipient for Ohio State, meaning he was getting the plays called in the helmet. So, like you said, for the hardball guy, you can get a guy out there who you can put the plays in his ear right now. And for a team that couldn't stop the run, you get rid of Dexter Lawrence, who as a nose tackle, that's kind of what they are. You know, they stuff that up. You get a guy who can drop down and crack and get some tackles, can help Brian Burns and these other guys off the edge. You know what I'm saying? Just, taking off sides of the field. So I'm with you. Sonny Styles at 5.
I
Hot
don't
take
think.
here. Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
wait, go ahead.
No, that's
Nah,
you.
go
That's
ahead.
you. Oh,
All
okay.
right, bet.
Hot take. And this is me just as a Jets fan. There's a lot of Jets pages out there that think that the Jets are going to shock the world and go Sonny Styles at 2 to put
Mm,
him with a Demario Davis for the same reason I said you get Arvell Reese. But especially with us having the 16th pick, I think with 2 we can roll the dice a little bit. But what did you have to say about Styles before we move on to Cleveland with 6?
but I think what I was gonna say kind of even pair with what you just said. Like when you're dealing with a team that got all stars at every level, it's kind of hard to gauge. Like who's really pulling the most weight.
Yeah.
And like, are you looking this dominant because this other team is so inferior? And
Mm-hmm.
there's really nowhere else to go. So
Yeah.
even with a Sonny Styles here at pick 5, like from everything I'm hearing, they say the defense is really built around Caleb Downs. So is
Stood out
who's
amongst
really,
Giants, man.
yeah, who's really pulling the most weight. But it, when you picking that high up, top 5, you're dealing with all great players. Everybody
Yeah.
got their strengths and weaknesses. So, but I think this is one of the safer picks. I think a pick like Sonny Styles is even safer than a Mendoza pick.
No, because like he's gonna pan out. Like he's gonna be a good
Yeah,
football player. Like for
yeah, for
better, like
sure,
he's gonna
for
pan out.
sure.
And like we mentioned, you just mentioned Caleb Downs. We'll get to him later. Jim Harbaugh can do. John Harbaugh, excuse me. John Harbaugh can do a lot of things. He's back on the board in 5 more picks. So a guy
Yeah,
like Caleb Downs who's experiencing injury,
I
he
don't
could
think
go
he
get
make it.
he could go get both. I don't think he make it
I
either.
don't
I
think he
I don't
made
see
it.
how. I don't think he get. We'll talk about it. All right, number 6, Cleveland. I have them taking offensive tackle Francis Maui Noah. 6'5", 330 pounds, all of American, nasty, protects the quarterback.
Mm,
Cleveland had one of the worst offensive situations in the league last year, and that's not ideal considering the fact that you got a rookie quarterback back there in Shador Sanders, who took first team reps today in their spring
yeah, I
practice.
seen
So those are good
for sure.
signs that Deshaun Watson, now obviously he's coming back from injury, so I think by default he's going to take second team reps. But I think that's a position where if Shador Sanders just shows improvement, that it's his job to lose. So I think we go protect him. Cleveland also has another pick in the first round, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Give me just a second while I look that up because I feel like that's exactly why I went offensive
I think
tackle
it's
here.
like 20 something. They got 24.
They got 24. So, yes, they're back on the board, and I think you address skill position there. I think it'll be some wide receivers on the board there. So, I've got Cleveland taking him. Let's go protect Shador Sanders. Let's go get a guy who's elite in the pass game where Shador Sanders is a passing quarterback. Let's go show off this arm. And with that later first round pick, let's get him somebody to throw the ball to. Who do you have Cleveland taking at number 6?
Yeah, I like Manny Noah, even Spencer Fano, even from Utah, but from everything I hear and even from what I've seen, they play right tackle and
Yeah.
the Browns need is really left tackle,
Okay.
so you could draft them and move them or just, keep them at right tackle. Right tackle is still important. It's not like left tackle is important, right tackle ain't important,
Yeah.
and even in the run game, having good tackles is necessary,
Yes, sir.
and so this is definitely gonna differ from your pick. I think at 6, you swing for the fences and you go get Jordan Tyson. You don't even play with him. You
Okay, I
go
like
get
it.
him. You
Prime
go get
time.
him. You go get him because this is how I look at it. If he turned out to be everything everybody thinks he gonna be, and he's not the first player to come out with injuries, in college,
Yeah.
but if he pan out to be what everybody think he gonna be, and y'all don't get him, or even a
Mhm.
Carnell Tate, just like a bona fide, dog at receiver,
Yeah.
you run the risk, and maybe Andrew Berry, the GM for the Browns, he already like if they don't shake this year, he had a good drive last year, but if the team, if they don't do what they need to do this year, and if
Mm,
these picks don't pan out, he could be
yeah.
looking, for a job somewhere else. And maybe
100%.
maybe the sixth pick is a little rich for Jordan Tyson, but I think like,
I
man,
mean,
you don't turn that down. You don't
if
turn that
Jordan
down.
Tyson is what he is advertised as, and
Yeah,
let's assume he's
yeah.
healthy, it's crazy he go past 3, if we being
But that's what I'm
honest.
saying. If the injuries wasn't there, he top three for sure.
Based off
Top four
2024
at
tape,
least.
because the 2025 was
Yeah,
a little, quarterback got injured, he got injured.
yeah,
Off the
yeah.
2024 tape, let's do that. So I do like that. So for the sake of our mock draft, we need to be on the same page. So I think you talked me into Jordan Tyson at number 6. So we'll rock with
And and look, like
Tyson at 6.
when you dealing with a receiver who likes to get rack and he want to fight through tackles and all that, bro, you gonna mess up your leg. You gonna do this and hurt your shoulder. It come with it. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
the
saying?
collarbone stuff, that's part of it.
He not a finesse receiver. That don't mean you
Yeah.
should overlook the injuries. You know what I'm saying? But he a dog, bro. So like sometimes you get dirty.
And people are concerned about the ACL, MCL, PC, LCL,
Yeah.
whatever it was. That was before the 2024 season. So the production came after those injuries. The collarbone
Mm,
thing, like you said, that's part of the game. That's not something that just like is reoccurring. It happens.
mm.
So
And now
Jordan Tyson, and he went to Colorado too. So they got some.
you
Not that would matter, but
you dealing with NFL coaches and trainers and medicals, y'all should be able to, help build him up to where them injuries,
yeah,
they shouldn't be as likely. You can never take it fully off the board, but they shouldn't be as likely,
we drafting
but
you, assuming that you finna play ball here. With that, we
just like
coming in with that
everybody else.
attitude. Yeah, just
Yeah,
like
just like
everybody
everybody
else.
else. Yeah.
All right. Washington at number 7. So we'll go Jordan Tyson at 6. Washington at number 7. I have them. Or let you go. You take this one. You go first.
Washington at 7.
Yes.
If Jeremiah Love could have fell there, I would have had them taking that. But
Yeah.
I think Washington at 7. Go ahead and get Caleb Downs. Get him.
Mm.
Go ahead and get him. Put him back there and just deal with the repercussions of maybe not having the best O line, maybe
Yeah.
not having all the talent at receiver. You still got Terry McLaurin. You still got Debo for now, at least.
Now Debo gone. Free agent.
He is
Yeah,
free
free
agent
agent.
still.
Yeah.
Okay, well then, okay, that might change. Then I might.
I went Tater. Cardinal Tate, Ohio
Yeah, I'm
State.
about to
I
say,
went Tater.
I hate you.
that's what Cud called him on the like Tater. What's that
Yeah.
announcer name? You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, yeah, I went
Nah, but
Cardinal Tate, man.
oh, you talking Gus Johnson?
Yeah, Gus
But
Johnson.
so yeah, I didn't know they didn't have Debo, but so yeah, I probably
Yeah.
say you gotta have another receiver. No, I'm sticking Caleb Downs, bro. You
Okay, I
stick you
like it.
stick you stick Caleb Downs. You got to
Okay.
take him, bro, because he'll lead that defense. That secondary kind of had a little trouble last year, and then even in the
Yeah.
division you win, you got Pickens, you got CD, and it's not like Caleb Downs guarding him head up, but like him patrolling the secondary, he's gonna be able to make plays and keep everybody in position. So I think you go Caleb Downs right there.
Caleb down. So, and I have another one for this Washington pick. I think Washington and Tennessee are two teams that I'm just like, man, they could go crazy with this. Because Washington, I think even, and not to keep backtracking to Tennessee, but I just like what they got. They could go Cardinal Taylor, Jordan Tyson, and go get Cam Ward, one of them boys. But anyway, Washington at number 7. If they don't get Cardinal Tate, if they don't go get Caleb Downs, I think a guy like Mansour Delane is in play for number 7. Like you mentioned,
7?
you
Yeah,
mentioned, bro,
yeah,
they need a DB. That
yeah.
secondary was kind of weak. Marshall Lattimore is out. Not that he was the Marshall Lattimore in New Orleans, but he's out. I think a guy like Mansour Delane, who was the best cornerback in college football this past season, lockdown, fast, fluid, 4-year starter. That has a lot to say with him. A 26.7 passer rating allowed when you throw the ball to him. So you're not catching the ball when Mansour Delane is in the area. A 31.8% forced incompletion rate. So if you throw the ball to him, it's not getting caught. You know what I'm saying? He can run with you deep. He's got I can't remember what his 40 time was, but fast enough to keep up with it. He's got nickel flexibility, so you can bounce him outside, bounce him inside. And for a team that needs help in the secondary, I think Mansour Delane is definitely in play for Washington there. But if I had to just stand on one pick, I'm going Cardinal Tate with 7 to the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, I'm locked in. I'm locked in with Downs on this one.
Okay, number 8. We go to NOLA, the New Orleans Saints. I think they go Ruben Bain out of Miami here with this pick, assuming that David Bailey and Arvell Reese are off the board. A team that is also struggled at getting to the quarterback this past season. Cam Jordan's getting old. Let's get a guy that can teach for the next year. So I think he might only have a year left. Ruben Bain, 6'2", 263 pounds. So he's coming into the NFL with the body already. Unlike a guy like Tyson or some of these other guys where we want him to put on some weight, he's coming in already, I feel like, built to play this game. 7.5 sacks, 13 tackles for a loss, 3 forced fumbles. He's got the raw power that helps him win 1v1. He can really help set the edge in the run game too. Could be really disruptive. Go watch that playoff run that Miami had. He was everywhere. Akeem Mesdador was also in the mix, but Ruben Bain was causing a lot of disturbance in those games, especially against Ohio State, man. When I seen him go against Ohio State and actually like assert dominance, bro, like that was impressive. So the arm length similar to Will Campbell last year, the offensive tackle who went to the Patriots. Outside of the Super Bowl, he had a pretty good season. So arm length, I mean, history, somebody got to be at the bottom of history. I think we look at the tape. I think we let the violent hands, the game record plays show that hopefully that can translate to New Orleans. Who do you have the Saints taking at number 8?
No, I agree. I think Ruben Bain is the pick right there.
All
And
right.
even, they making a big deal of the short arms. If you're gonna have short arms, you need to at least have violent hands. So
Yeah.
whenever them O linemen do, reach out to get you, you can get them up off you or whatever. And truthfully, like if he had even average or just above average size arms,
He might be up there with Bailey.
he would be because honestly, like I like Ruben Bain more than Bailey. It's just Bailey is the bigger, he bigger.
Mm-hmm.
He had a
He
little
he
bit better of the
looked he looked
season
more
maybe.
made in the lab than
Nah,
Bain do.
for sure. And certain stuff, they draft off potential. So it's
Yeah.
like if you gonna play as good as you look, in pads, pause,
Yeah.
you gonna we can't not draft you. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we gonna have to do that. But I like Ruben Bain though. They got the news, all the stuff coming out of him in
Caught
the
about it.
car and all of that. They gon' and not that ain't important or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But just on the field, I think he a top 5 talent. And the
Yes.
Saints would be lucky. The Saints would be lucky to get him at 8.
Yes. I think that would be I mean, with all the stuff that is going on in the news lately, I feel like that might be New Orleans putting it out so we can get them. You know what I'm saying? Because we think that highly of them. As crazy as
Yeah,
that might sound, a lot of
they
these
ain't make they
teams
ain't making it up though.
they ain't making it up. But I'm
Yeah,
saying a lot of these teams do hold on to that type of ammunition when it comes to
yeah,
draft time to try to tank these stocks so you can. If it's a dirty game, we're
yeah,
gonna do whatever we got to do to make sure you come to our team.
yeah.
So everybody makes mistakes. Ruben Bain at number 8, Kansas City at number 9, assuming that they do not make any trades. Disclosure: we're assuming we're gonna go down the draft order as it is now. We're not making any trades, I don't think. So we're gonna just assume that everybody stays put. Kansas City at number 9. This is where I have Caleb Downs going. I
Mhm.
think Mr. Spagnola, I think we seen how surgical he can get with a defense when he's got players that can make plays. This last Super Bowl run made by the Chiefs, for as good as Patrick Mahomes was, once Bieniemy left, that defense was making plays. You know what I'm saying? Whether that be from Chris Jones, Trent McDuffie, pro, um, Nick Bolton. You got guys who can make plays. Chris Jones is getting older. Karlaftis isn't necessarily just where we thought he would be for what we drafted him for. McDuffie is gone. We lose our safety. Caleb Downs is a flexible defensive back. Again, you mentioned this earlier. A team that has a lot of great players, how can we determine who's pulling all the weight? Well, I think in Caleb Downs' case, for him to be playing on a team like Alabama, then to go to Ohio State and clearly be the best player amongst Giants, playing with Arvell Reese, playing with Sonny Styles, playing with Kaden McDonald, 3 first-round projected picks on just Ohio State alone, I think Caleb Downs was still clearly the best defensive player in this draft, and only not getting drafted that high because of other needs teams are having, and plus he's dealing with a little injury. Not scared to tackle, man. I think he's a guy who can play in the box. You can drop him back in coverage. All phases, man. He can get up and guard these tight ends. He can tackle them one-on-one. I think that's what's most impressive by him. Honey Badger like. Don't let the 6-foot size stature fool you. He's making plays. If you get his hands on you, 9 times out of 10, he's making that tackle. Who do you have the Chiefs going with at 9? I got Caleb Downs.
Yeah, I had Downs going to the Commanders,
Right, right.
and but if he don't go there, I like Downs at 9 for the Chiefs. They need a corner, but I don't know if Delane was there, at
Mhm.
9 if the Chiefs would take him because they really don't invest that high in the corners, but they
Yeah.
really don't draft as high either, So like
Right.
I can also see him trading up, to get one of the blue chippers, like in the top five. But I think if Caleb Downs is there for him, that's a great pickup for them.
Yeah, man. And like you said, they don't usually pick this high. This is the highest pick they've had since drafting Patrick Mahomes, and they even traded up for that pick. So
Hmm.
they haven't been in position to draft these caliber players. That's the price you pay when you have a good football team. So yeah, man, we definitely have KC going on the defensive side of the ball, rather that be Downs, Delane. I think you definitely need to give Spagnola, a new weapon to use.
Yeah.
Cincinnati, oh, not Cincinnati, I apologize. They traded that pick. The New York Giants are back on the board at number 10. Um, I'll let you start it off. We have them taking Sonny Styles with the fifth pick. Let's assume that Caleb Downs is off the board. Let's assume Ruben Bain is off the board. We're going to go Jordan Tyson is off the board. So we got guys like Carnell Tate, Mansur Delane is still on the board for us. Makai Lemon, Dylan Thieneman. Who do you got Cincinnati going with that? I
Yeah.
mean, New York going with that 10th pick.
If Carnell Tate's still there for them,
Tater.
I definitely get him there. If
Mm,
uh if Jordan Tyson is there, I'm sure they'll take him there too. But truthfully, if I'm Jordan Tyson, keep me off of that turf for MetLife.
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
even want to touch it.
But I think
But
so. What we saying is offense, no matter who they
yeah,
go, best offensive
yeah.
player, skill player available for.
Because I see in mock drafts other places they got them taking Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs. If you can pull that
If you
off,
could do that, yeah, do it.
more power to you. But I don't see that happening.
And
But
yeah, and
I say
I
go
think
get
go
Sonny
ahead. My
Styles.
fault.
Yeah, I say get Sonny Styles and then get Dart another weapon. Especially
Yes,
with the boy coming off injury.
Malik Neighbors and
Yeah,
Scatterboo both
Neighbors.
coming off season
Yeah,
injuries. So,
yeah,
um,
definitely.
all right, Miami number 11. Uh, I think they go best receiver here, a name that we haven't named yet. I think they go Makai Lemon. And we could talk about this while we're here, really quick. Give me your top four receivers in order. Like if we're just assuming, I mean everything we know. Let's availability is your best
Yeah,
ability. So I think the
yeah,
injuries do have to play a part with Jordan Tyson.
yeah.
Jordan Tyson, Cardinal Tate, Makai Lemon. Well, let's just go those three. Jordan
I
Tyson,
think
late Lemon. What's your order?
I think you go Carnell Tate one just because of the production,
Mm,
and even though Tyson 2024 production was up there, but you got to factor in the injury. Even though I say draft Tyson over Carnell Tate, that's just because of the upside. But
yeah.
you come into the draft with Tate one. I ain't gonna lie, I like Makai Lemon, and it's probably because he fried Michigan when USC played Michigan this year. He did us dirty,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he Biletnikoff winner, So I say you can go. You, you could put him two and Tyson three,
Yes.
and then four. I know they got the boy out of A&M.
You got Denzel
I
Boston,
know
K.
they got yeah out
Concepcion,
of
Omar
out of
Cooper.
Washington, Boston, Omar Cooper. Yeah,
Hmm.
I like Clemson receiver out of
And Antonio Williams.
Antonio Williams. Yeah,
Yeah.
even Oklahoma they got Deion Burks. Solid.
Yeah. I like the dude
Yeah,
out of
solid.
Mississippi State. Short dude, really fast.
Oh
Brennan
yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah.
He's
Yeah, he
nice.
passing him up. Brennan. Yeah, I
Uh,
know what you're talking
but yeah, I think my order go, man. I got Makai Lemon as wide receiver one. Belinikoff Award winner.
about. I ain't know that.
Great route runner, electric play speed, 79 catches, 1,156 yards, 11 touchdowns. Technician, man. Amon Ross, St. Brown esque, knows how to find the soft spots. Great hands. Go look at Makai Lemon. You see the size on the stat sheet. He looked like he played like he's 6'2" with all the 50-50 balls he's winning.
Yeah,
He's a dog, man. And I think for Miami, who just traded Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill is a free agent, looking like he might return to KC, which could also have some implication on what they do in the draft. Um, Malik Willis is a new quarterback. Like we've just kind of been repeating a broken record. We got to make the job easy for the quarterback. And I think you do that by going to go get a solidified wide receiver for him. We've seen how productive rookie wide receivers can be. Tedero McMillan this past season. Um, um, Emeka Ibuka the year before that. We've seen how good Malik Neighbors was as a rookie. And I think that highly of Makai Lemon that I think he could be just as productive as a rookie, given staying healthy. So I got Miami taking Makai Lemon at 11. Are we?
Hey, what
What
you
up?
think about so Makai Lemon won the Belindikoff,
Yes.
but Jeremiah Smith won Big Ten or Player of the Year, Receiver of the Year, something like that,
Yeah.
and they both in the Big Ten. So how you think they gave him the nod for the Belindikoff, which is a national award, but he didn't win his conference
This
award,
this might sound childish. We will see Jeremiah Love. We will see Jeremiah Smith again next year.
For sure.
So
For
let's
sure.
just Makai Lemon is out of here.
Yeah.
Um, not I don't want to say voters fatigue, but I think we're going to assume that Jeremiah Smith will be here again, so we'll just give it to him next year. I think it's one of them type things, to be honest, because like you said, it doesn't really make sense how they're both in the same league and one wins the award for the nation, but one wins the best in the league when they're in the same league. So yeah, it doesn't make sense, but I think that's kind of what it comes down to. Let's just seniority type thing. Uh, Dallas, number 12. I have them taking Oregon safety Dylan Thieneman. They also have a second first round pick later. Defense is something that they need to work on. You got George Pickens, you got CeeDee Lamb, you got Dak Prescott. You just drafted offensive line last year, Booker. So I think the offense ain't the problem. We seen how CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens could get down. Like we seen the Cowboys constantly scoring 30 points a game, 35 points. Now we just got to get similar to our flag football team. If you niggas is watching this, we just got to stop the other team from scoring the ball. As easy as that sound, it's definitely harder than it is. But I think you start that by getting somebody in the secondary who can make plays. 96 tackles, 3.5 tackles for a loss, 5 pass breakups, 2 interceptions this past season with the Oregon Ducks. Go check out that play against Penn State, double overtime, where he got the game-winning interception. Ice in his veins. He makes plays in the big moments. Don't have to worry about him shying away. Sideline to sideline. Closing speed is great. Form tackler. Good read and react. So similar to a guy like Sonny Styles, even though he might not be a Caleb Downs athletically, he's right up there with him up here. And I think that is just as much of a weapon as being a freak of nature, made in the lab. So I got Dylan Thieneman going number 12 to the Cowboys. What about you?
I'm not mad at it. As far as what I think they will do, I think
Yeah.
that's in line with that. He is definitely a good player, explosive athlete. Oregon
Yeah.
had him more in the box this year. Even his first year at Purdue, I believe he played more center field
Yeah.
and showed more of his range. The play you talking about against Penn State, definitely a good play.
Great
He
play.
diagnosed it. It looked to be like a little screen going on. They tried to slip the tight end out. He dropped back, picked it off. Definitely a good
And
player.
got down. We ain't finna return it.
Not,
Just get down.
not for sure. Definitely a smart player.
Yep.
So going into like the safety rankings, like obviously Caleb Downs would be one, and
Mm-hmm.
then a lot of people got Thieneman ranked two. Uh, I
Mm-hmm.
like McNeil Warren out of Toledo.
That boy
I did,
smacks.
yeah, I did more. I ain't gonna say homework, but I watched a lot of him, and I know
Yeah.
that he's not ranked above Thieneman for probably just
Where he played.
probably just the short answer of where he played, the conference and then
Yeah.
the competition, so
Yeah.
I could see Dallas or any other team, using that against them. But I think, when you put the pads on you on the field, it don't matter where you play, it's football, and I think if I'm the Cowboys, the safer pick would be to get to internet, but
Mm-hmm.
I would get McNeil Warren, and maybe 12 is, a bit high for that pick for what everybody else think. But if you need a
Yeah.
safety and you want safety, I'm taking McNeil Warren. He's
And
rangy,
yeah, very.
explosive tackler. He definitely getting the ball carrier down. And you got to think, you playing Saquon, Jaden Daniels running around,
It's
if
cracking
we
over there in
got
that conference.
yeah, it's a lot going on, so I like either pick, so you can't go wrong,
I
but
like that. Yeah.
I would take McNeil Warren right there.
All right. I like that pick. So we're going to move on to the Los Angeles Rams at pick 13. Now, I originally had them going wide receiver. Now, according to our mock draft, Carnell Tate is off the board. Jordan Tyson is off the board. Makai Lemon is also off the board. So that leaves guys like Omar Cooper, Denzel Boston, and the other guys we named. Now Casey Concepcion. Now I think that's too rich of a pick for the Los Angeles Rams. So I think the Los Angeles Rams is actually a team who F them picks once again, and I think they might blow this whole draft up and make a crazy trade to get further ahead to draft one of them receivers. Devontae Adams is getting older. They were vocal about saying how he was on the trading block this past season. Whenever guys like Max Crosby and AJ Brown were made available, they made Devontae Adams available. They didn't take the trade, but Devontae Adams said he appreciated how they were open with him. Puka Nacua is in rehab. He tripping. I don't trust him. Great football player. Rather it's being injured, saying the crazy things about the Jews, the allegations of biting women. Now he in rehab, getting drunk. His brother breaking into cars. I think it's something to say about repeated patterns. And if his skin was a little darker and he had longer hair, we would be calling for him to get arrested. Probably, at least some of these people would. So. That's neither here or there. I'm just, so I think they should take wide receiver if they do trade up. Now, let's say they don't trade up. I think that's where we go get offensive linemen. Now, rather you like Francis Mauigoa, one of the guys from Utah, even that, what is his name? Let me go to him. There is a lineman from Penn State. He's a guard.
It's like, I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
I don't know how to pronounce his name, but even Monroe from Georgia, I think you can just go offensive line here. Yeah, so Los Angeles is kind of hard for me because I have them going wide receiver, but in this one, we think the wide receivers are going for the sake of it. I think they just go Francis Mauigoa. Matt Stafford announced he's coming back. Let's give him the best chance to take us to another Super Bowl. Where you got the Rams going?
I think since they invested a lot in their defense during the offseason, trading for corners and whatnot, they front seven already, pretty elite.
Mm-hmm.
And they O-line maybe ain't the best, but it's pretty solid, so I could see wanting to invest to keep Stafford upright, because when he is healthy, they got a chance to beat anybody. They got a chance to beat anybody. Their run game is pretty solid with Kyron Williams and Blake Corum,
Yep.
I think right here, though, for the Rams, you go get Kenyon Sadiq.
Nice.
Give you another weapon on offense.
Nice.
You got Puka and Devontae outside, but you put him in the and really Kenyon Sadiq. He
can play wide receiver.
He's really a big wide receiver, So
yes, sir.
And a lot of people saying he don't block, but he's not. He ain't that bad in the when it comes to blocking and whatnot. So I think you go get him and make the offense even more dynamic, and you find yourself back to the conference championship game.
Question. I have a question. Yeah. We're talking about wide receivers. And this is like on topic, off topic. Zachariah Branch. He just popped into my head. So before I forget to ask you, we were talking about wide receivers a few minutes ago. Where do you have him? Like, what is your opinion on him? Is he an NFL player? I seen Mel Kiper a month ago said he was a sneaky first round talent. So I'm seeing a lot of mixed reviews on Zachariah Branch. I like Zachariah Branch. I'd rather have Elijah Surratt out of Indiana. I'd rather have Denzel Boston from Washington. I'd rather have Casey Concepcion. So not to say he's a bad player. I think you just get to number 7 on the wide receiver ranking pretty quick.
Yeah.
Zachariah Branch, how do you feel about him?
Definitely a good player. Definitely a good player. They probably viewing him more as like a gadget guy. Yeah. I don't know if they looking at him as like a every down receiver. But definitely explosive with the ball in his hand. You definitely getting a punt returner, kick returner, maybe.
I see him as like this could be good because this guy actually had a huge impact on the Seattle Seahawks winning the Super Bowl, and that's his Rashid Shaheed. With these new kickoff rules and stuff like that, I think it's important to have a guy like Zachariah Branch who can make splash plays. And if he's not taking it to the crib, I mean, you gotta love a guy who can every other time or at least once or twice a game by himself put you on the 40-yard line, put you on the 50-yard line, put you, you know what I'm saying? Already put you halfway. And with kickers kicking 50-yard field goals in their sleep, I mean, that guy, if you don't turn the ball over, he's setting you up for essentially automatic 3 points at worst. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So I think he's pretty good. I don't think he's a first-round talent, so I do not agree with Mel Kiper on that. But I would not be surprised if we're talking about Zachariah Branch as one of the better special teams guys in like the next 2 to 3 years. Baltimore. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick. So he was at SC, right? And then he transferred to Georgia. Was the other way around?
SC then Georgia.
Okay. So I think like even like his in this draft, he probably more similar to like a Concepcion from A&M, right? But
Mhm.
A&M probably featured KC Concepcion more than Georgia features Zachariah Branch,
Yeah.
and maybe their skill sets ain't just entirely the same, but you dealing with similar body type, similar stature, so
Yep.
you can't go wrong, and he definitely gonna make somebody's team better, because having that type of speed, that type of explosiveness, home run hitter on your team, you need that, so I don't like you said, I don't know if first round it's the first round gonna fill up pretty quick, and it's a
And
lot of
Cuz got
other
arrested too.
he
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, like a day or two ago,
Okay,
tripping
well,
with the
yeah, he
police.
definitely ain't
Yeah.
going first round, so he
Yeah.
he, he probably day two pick, but
Um,
he gonna make somebody's team better, But I can see a lot of these other teams, trying to get a more established, big body receiver.
yeah. Zachariah Branch, like we just mentioned before we move on, 4.3 40 time. So
Nah,
the
yeah,
boy
good speed
has
on him.
wheels. Yeah.
Good speed on him.
Moving
Yeah,
on. Baltimore, new head coach Jesse Minter. Huge fan of what he had cracking in Los Angeles last year. I like him. Defensive guy. Has been pretty vocal about saying as much as we love Lamar and what he can do with his legs, we think he's as good of a passer. So we're going to focus on drawing the plays so he can make great passes because we believe he can throw the ball. A few years ago, I believe he got robbed of that best quarterback season he had where he had only 4 interceptions to like 40 some touchdowns. But he's getting older. And if we want him to stay in the pocket longer, I think we need to protect him. And I think that's where you go. Spencer Fanu, offensive tackle, 6'5, 315 pounds. Super fast, man. I think he's one of the faster linemen that I've seen. His acceleration and launching off the line. I'm not an offensive line coach, so outside of these skill positions, I don't want to say I know what I'm looking at as much as I am when I'm looking at, positions like that, especially offensive tackle where stats really aren't really, what I'm saying? Like they don't really have stats to back up how good they are, like these other positions. But man, he's super fast, a great run blocker. Derrick Henry is getting older. I think let's keep using him while we can. Let's, what I'm saying, Lamar Jackson. I think we're gonna have some designated run plays. Let's get an offensive tackle who can get nasty, who's violent, who's seeking out. You know what I'm saying? The next person at the next level to put in the dirt. And I think Lamar Jackson would appreciate that, man. I like Zay Brown. Not Zay Brown. What's his name? Zay. What did they that short receiver they got?
Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers. I like Zay Flowers. Um, so yeah, I think they go offensive tackle with that pick. Where you got Baltimore going?
Nah, you hit it right on the head. Spencer Fano definitely the pick right there. If he's still available, you definitely
Yes.
go line, bolster that lineup. Uh,
Yes.
you know, Derrick Henry had a lot of fumble issues last year, but he still rushed for, I think it was like over 1,300, 1,400 yards, something like that. So
Yes.
still had a pretty good season.
Pretty
I
productive.
don't think they're not going to be happy until Lamar Jackson finished the deal, and rightfully so. Two-time MVP. He got all the
Yep.
accolades. He just missing the ring. So I
Let's get
think
it done.
this give him a better opportunity to, have more time to create explosive plays, help the run game, and then you still got plenty of picks to go bolster that receiver room. So
Yeah.
you definitely go line right there in that spot.
All right. I'm gonna try to speed this up because I have to use the bathroom. All right. Buccaneers at 15. They lost Mike Evans. I think that is a big deal. I think with that being said, that's where I have Kenyon Sadiq going. You
Mm.
had him going to the Los Angeles Rams, but I think let's get Baker Mayfield another big body to throw the ball to. We have Ibuka, so we think we have our wide receiver one. Let's maximize what Baker Mayfield can do. We just paid him not too long ago. Let's give him an opportunity to win. We don't have Mike Evans, so like that's a big deal. You know what I'm saying? We've had him for the last 10 years. I feel like players like that unfairly might get taken for granted of like how impactful they are. Rather they be there producing. He was getting 1,000 yards every year, but this past season he didn't. But just the threat of a guy like Mike Evans being out there and just for a quarterback, I bet you that's like relieving to know if none of this work, I can get him in the rock and I can trust my guy to go make a play. I think Kenyon Sadiq, for those reasons we named earlier, could be that guy for Baker Mayfield. Electric when he gets the ball out of his hands and rack. Lines up at tight end, but we both agree that he's just a big wide receiver. And I think that allows you to get pretty flexible with how you line him up on the offensive side of the ball. So I think Kenyon Sadiq is somebody that Baker Mayfield can benefit from, similar to the rookie Emeka Ibuka, who he threw the ball to a lot last year. So he's not shy to get these rookies the ball if they've proven to make plays. So I got Kenyon at 15 to the Buccaneers. Where you got this at?
They since they invested an early pick last year in receiver getting Ibuka, and I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure they still got Godwin, right?
Correct. I
Yeah, they
think.
got him, and they got what's it, Ted Johnson over there. They got some
Yep.
receivers,
They got Tez
So
Johnson.
I think in this spot, you definitely go edge. They haven't had the success, getting to the quarterback that I'm sure they would have wanted, or
Yeah.
to have more success, just even in that division, particularly, So I think in that spot, you go Akeem Mesidor at 15, but
Nice.
even I know they're making a big deal of him being like 25 already, and
He got the injuries and stuff.
yeah, but they look at it as like, you already a 25-year-old. We can draft a 21-year-old, what I'm saying? Somebody with some
Hmm.
more years, because truthfully, after your rookie contract, you're gonna be down there 30 already, So
Yeah. And Jermaine
they look.
Johnson, when the Jets drafted
Mhm.
him, when we had them 3 first-round picks, he was an older edge and turned out to be really productive. Turns out that just being older sometimes, like similar to quarterbacks, how we mentioned off air, these quarterbacks that are winning Super Bowl, they got a lot of reps in college. It might not
Yeah,
be ideal for, some, but at the same time, it can be beneficial because we don't have to go over the little things. We don't have to mold you as much. You already
yeah,
kind of know what we own. At this point, it's just getting the experience of being an NFL player. You know some things that an 18-year-old might not know because
yeah.
you played in Miami. You got reps in the ACC where football is competitive enough. They're sending a lot of guys to the league. So
You ready to bang already at 25. You're
already,
not,
and
what I'm
that's
saying? We
Jermaine
don't
Johnson
say,
was ready to bang.
yeah,
JUCO route,
exactly. So
went
I
Florida State 1 year, came in the
I
league
like
cracking.
that. I like that pick right there, to get him some
Yeah,
help. You don't want to waste having a player like Vita Vea, because he an
you don't
elite
want to do
D
that.
lineman, and you want to give him some more help, So I don't really care about that, him being 25. He a productive player, and
Yeah, he gonna
even
make some
even though
plays.
even though Ruben Bain, was the marquee guy on that D line, if you watch that tape, you watch them games, I'm not saying he was as impactful, you definitely pick Ruben
Some,
Bain before him, but
yeah.
he was a beast, in his own right, so I think that's a beneficial pick right there for them.
And like you said, we another broken record. Like you said, when you're playing with elite guys, it's hard to tell who's really doing what. And a lot of
Yeah,
people's argument with Akeem Mesidor and Ruben Bain is one of the guys was making the job easier for the other guy. Whichever
yeah,
one you think was doing that, like you said, that
yeah.
you can play with those scenarios all day. New York Jets, my team, the Green Machine, back at 16. Uh, man, it's a lot of directions we could go with this. I'm gonna give you a few players that I like. Not gonna talk too much. But I like, and it's a risk, but I like Jamal McCoy out of Tennessee. We just mentioned, injuries can definitely be scary. Now, I did just see that some NFL teams they believe he might have to have another surgery on his knee, which could keep him out of this upcoming season. Now, I'm hoping that this is just a Will Johnson from last year, and injury is making people overthink what this is. He ran a
Mhm.
4.40. They said he was about 80%, so he's still not all the way healthy, but it's only March. I mean, April. The league don't start till September, so we still got a lot of time to get healthy. We just got rid of Sauce Gardner. Um, I think if you turn on the 2024 tape, similar to Jordan Tyson, this is a top 5 pick at a really prominent position. We're not afraid and shy to go take DB at this high of a position. Aaron Glenn is a former DB, so he know how important that is. So I like Jamal McCoy here. I also like Omar Cooper Jr. here. I like what he does. I think this is where we go get the quarterback some help. If we want Geno Smith to be as good as he is, let's go get him weapons. Garrett Wilson was struggling with injury this last year, assuming that he's still healthy, but when he fell off, we didn't have a receiver on our team have more than 400 receiving yards on the season. Now, we did acquire A.D. Mitchell, who I'm really high on. Does have some drop problems, but showed some flash, man. We had guys like Brady Cook, Tyrod Taylor, Justin Fields. So I don't think it's fair to judge receivers based off. And no shot to those guys, but you know what I mean? A competent quarterback can make receivers look good. So I
Yes,
think we
sir.
go Omar Cooper Jr. here. I like what he does after the ball. Really, Debo Samuel's like turns into a running back after the ball. Never always breaking the first tackle. You turn on the Indiana tape, and Indiana with the 2 years ago they had a lot of guys graduate. So this past season when they won the chip, they actually had him working a lot on the inside. And I like Garrett Wilson on the outside. So I think that just makes sense. A.D. Mitchell is fast and rangy and long. So those are our two outside guys. I like Omar Cooper at 16. What do you think the Jets should do at that pick?
Yeah, I like Jamal McCoy, as the player, but I don't think in that spot y'all go corner. I think you do need a Omar Cooper Jr. or something like
Hmm.
that, just another weapon on offense for Gino. Like I said, if the expectation is to win and Aaron Glenn, is kind of if he's not on the hot seat, he close to it already, I
Yeah.
think you go get Gino some help, so to put up some points, because
And our next quarterback next
uh,
year.
not for sure. And
Yep.
it's not that corner don't help you win, but at that receiver, you can directly put points up on the board, so it's just a
Yeah.
more impactful. It's just a more impactful position, and Aaron Glenn being a defensive player, he'll be able to figure out, what the best defense they can run, even if they
Yep.
corners are top notch, so I think you go get the receiver, help out the quarterback, even help out Garrett Wilson, just to get, create some more one-on-ones with him, and be able to get him the ball in space. So I like the Omar Cooper Jr. pick right there.
All right. Before we get out of here, I do want to. I'm gonna stop the draft right there because I ain't gonna lie. After that, I really don't have nothing else because my
Mm.
last draft trades have been made, and I'm just not too. I'm not confident that I've seen enough or can form an opinion strong enough to like he needs to go here. I got
Okay.
guys that I like in these areas. So a guy that I do like, I'll name a few guys that I like in this area. Get your opinions on them. You shoot some back at me, and we can do our thing. Kevin Falk is a guy that I like out of Auburn. Um, oops, my fault. Keldrick Falk, my fault. Kevin Falk was the dude who played for the Patriots. Keldrick Falk, we talk about just potential and ceiling. Again, a guy who the numbers is not going to jump off the screen because Auburn, he has the ability to play outside, inside on the line. So he's moving into a lot of areas. So sacks isn't something that you're going to see a lot of them because he is playing on the inside a lot. And we know that's not the job for the nose tackle. But he's 6'5", bro, 280 pounds. You know what I'm saying? 34-inch arm length. We talk about Arvell Reese. We talk about David Bailey made in the lab. This dude is made in the lab and he's only 21 years old. So we mentioned that how age can play a factor into how important development is for these guys. So you're getting a guy who played SEC ball. Um, Let me go back to my thing I had to him because I had a really good fact about him. Um, but yeah, man, you got a guy. SEC is a tough division, always putting guys into the NFL. What he was doing at Auburn as like the main contributor, still getting in the backfield, a guy who can eliminate the run game, which the Jets had a problem doing. So I bring the Jets up because he's a guy who also had us taking at 16. If we decide to take Arvell Reese and we're not too sure him playing on the edge, maybe taking Keldrick Falk can help relieve some of that and maybe still swing him off the edge, but the pressure is not as much on him because we got this 6'6", 280-pound kid swinging off the edge with Will McDonald and guys like that. So who's a guy that you like that we maybe haven't brought up yet that you think could have some impact day one? And we're
I
on
think
what NFL team?
Not for sure. I think Keldrick Falk right there from so the Jets got 16, pick 16. I had Keldrick Falk going the very next pick to Detroit at 17,
Okay,
paired with Aiden Hutchinson.
get Aiden
So
some
it's
help.
crazy you brought him up. I had
Nice,
Keldrick Falk going right there to
nice.
bolster that D
And I
line.
like
I
that
think
too. Him in Detroit, like you
yeah,
said, Aiden
yeah,
Hutch, give him some help. He coming off an injury.
yeah.
Some of those guys I seen they wanted to
Like
take. Go ahead. Shoot.
no, like I like Mesidor better than him, so that's why I had him at 15 going to Tampa
Okay.
Bay. But he ain't far off, explosive, strong, good against the run. If he gonna be an edge rusher, I don't know if they gonna want him playing that close to 300 pounds.
Yeah.
They
True.
probably gonna have him come down a little bit. But if
True.
he's gonna be more of a three technique, nose tackle, something like that, 280 might be the sweet spot. They might even have him go up a little bit more. So either way, I know Dan Campbell gonna be able to do something with that. So
Yeah.
him and that Detroit uh campaign, they gonna do good things if that's where he land. But
Yes, sir.
just a player or two, I got a couple written down just that I wanted to couple sleeper picks.
Let's go.
Let me see where I want to go.
I'm
I brought
listening
up
to
the
you. I'm about to
not
mute
for
my
sure,
screen real quick. I'm gonna
for
go
sure,
make sure the baby's straight. But you good.
for
This is
sure.
your world.
Not for sure. Like I said, Deion Burks from Oklahoma, pretty solid receiver, quick, slot receiver. Some production concerns, but Oklahoma quarterback did get hurt this year, so he was playing with the backup quarterback, not really having as much success, but he had a good game against Michigan. So I got to see him live and, definitely a solid receiver. I think he'll make an NFL roster, not easily, but he'll definitely bolster somebody's receiver room. Let me see. Oh, Jeremy Bernard from Alabama, solid receiver, good hands, not too big, but just a smooth route runner, solid receiver. I like his toughness. I like his grit. Playing alongside Ryan Williams. Ryan Williams was looked to be the star receiver on that team. But I feel like Jeremy Bernard kind of took that from him this year. Whether that's Ryan Williams he decreased, or from what it looked like, Jeremy Bernard got better this year. He definitely shot up the draft board, so he'll be, if not a late first round, a day two pick. And he'll definitely bolster a team's receiver room. And then let me see. Let me see. Oh, Avion Terrell from Clemson, quarterback, solid cornerback, fluid.
Yes,
This is
sir.
AJ Terrell, little brother.
Avion
Um,
Terrell, love it. Can't get
yeah,
enough of it.
one thing though, like, so he didn't have no picks this year, but he did crazy enough. What's up, little homie? Nah,
Say what up.
he did lead the NCAA in forced fumbles at corner. Avion Terrell with 5 forced fumbles this year, so
I like him a
definitely a
lot.
solid pick. Smooth, elite from what it looked like, elite footwork. I think he's gonna be a solid player. And then last but not least, the boy that you wasn't really feeling, but now I guess you might have
Yes.
had to change your heart.
Had to change your heart.
Takario Davis, man, 6'3", rangy corner. Definitely
I'm listening to you.
for sure. Definitely Zakario Davis, definitely he a little up and down. He has some high moments, some low moments, but I just think you can't teach 6'3", you can't teach that size. And not only is he one of my sleeper picks, but I think a great place for him to end up, and I'd love to hear what you think about this, is for him to end up in Chicago with the Bears. I think Chicago's DB coach and defensive pass game coordinator is Al Harris, who was the DB coach in Dallas for a while. And Trayvon Diggs was having a lot of success. Deron Bland was having a lot of success. Both of those guys got paid. And then even in Chicago with Nashawn Wright last year, he just got paid by the Jets. Jalen Johnson, who was already a great player before he got there, but helping him develop as well. I think Chicago is a great place for a guy like that. And
And they just lost Nashawn Wright.
for sure, but I really like Al Harris as a DB coach because he has a proven track record of
Yes.
developing guys. He's a former Pro Bowl cornerback himself, so I just know that if he somehow finds his way to Chicago, boy, that'll
That'd be
be a
me.
that'll be a great pickup. You got Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison in Minnesota, obviously Amon Ra and J-Mo in Detroit.
Yep.
So there's some guys out there. Some guys out there. But I like Takario Davis to the Bears if they can get him. Probably a day two pick, round two or three.
Um,
So the Bears got, not to be long winded, but the Bears
no,
got the 57th and the 60th pick of the draft. I could see him going in that range. They third round pick is the 89th pick, of
right.
the draft. I don't know if Takario Davis is falling that low,
Less than that low.
so I could see 56 or 60. I could see him going there.
Um, all right, man. I trust that you gave some good knowledge. We talked off the camera too, so I know some of the guys that you brought up were some guys we talked about. Before we get out of here, me and Markel are captains for our flag football team. Um,
Uh,
Once a week, sometimes twice a week, we get out there, do our thing. Second time in the league this last year, this time, one game away from making it to our respective championship in our league. Devastating loss, shout out to the team that we made it with. But this year he is the creator of the team we play on now. We have more control over playing with our guys and things like that. So definitely check out some footage, the Big Body channel. I'll drop all that here. Go check out, subscribe to that. We dropping footage about that. But Markel is our quarterback safety, man. We got a game tomorrow as we record this. 2 games, 6:30, 7:30. what are some things that you like about, because I feel like the team is going to watch this. Let's, what do we like about each player on the team? Let's start with KD. Like, what do you like about KD? On the
Okay.
offensive side of the ball as a quarterback, what do you like about KD?
Okay. Definitely a big target.
Yes.
Last week he bailed me out. I was getting blitzed, threw him up a little jump ball. He definitely went up and got it. So
Yes.
definitely a big target. Still building trust though with him.
Only week 2.
Definitely only week 2, and we haven't had the practice amount. That I would have been wanting. But everybody got lives. So I can't be
I ain't
mad at
trying to hear
that.
that, man. They ain't that busy,
Nah, for
man. Come to
sure, for
practice,
sure,
fellas.
for
Come to
sure. If
practice. Play
y'all if
ball.
y'all see this, man, come to practice, man. You don't
Come
get
to
better without
practice.
practicing. You know what I'm saying? In anything. So, but
Yes.
definitely KD at receiver,
Vito.
uh, yeah, athlete for sure. Vito,
Yes.
man, jittery, quick, stop and start speed on a
Bro,
hundred.
he
He,
be pissed, bro.
yeah, oh
Vito, but hey,
yeah,
bro, that video
he,
you sent, bro, he was, bro.
yeah,
I wouldn't realize, like, I knew he was getting the Brock, but I didn't realize
yeah,
like how many deep passes and like touchdowns. Like Vito was
yeah.
getting off, bro.
Nah, he was getting off for sure, and I think too, like. He don't, when you got somebody like KD on the field or something, like
Yeah.
it's easy to lose sight of Vito. But when he get that ball in his hand, he get moving. So
Yeah.
I
Oh,
definitely like Vito,
I had
in the
it in the
slot, in the
error.
backfield, or just with the ball in his hand. Period.
Yeah, my fault. I had an technical difficulty.
Shout out IUN
Shout out IUN. Go cop the merch. Great merch. I
for
have the
sure.
sweats. I have the hood, the long sleeves. I'm about to get the
Yeah,
hoodie.
I ain't got my
Great
package yet.
price.
I ain't got my
Uh,
package yet, so I
it'll
don't
come.
know.
It'll come. Who will be
I
missing?
gotta
Next,
get in the ball
Tyree.
mode.
Mr.
Oh
Reed.
man,
What up?
the one,
Yeah.
shit, the one. Nah, he
About to go
a
upside
dog,
down type shit.
athlete, just
Three much.
damn near don't even know the word. Yeah, three much
Three
for real,
much.
three much, three much.
Uh, Twan don't really play offense, but Twan, we just shout out Twan. He plays defense.
Nah,
What do you like about
nah,
Twan? Shout out Twan.
and Twine be on offense a little
Twan
bit.
be
He
on
he got some
offense.
plays. He got some plays
He
on
got a
offense. He
touchdown or
he
two.
nah for sure. He
Yes.
definitely he get busy a loose screw for sure.
Yes. Gotta love it. Can't get enough of it.
For sure, and just definitely that energy guy, and
Yeah.
great football player, state champion.
State champion. Love him on defense side of the ball again. Only
Yeah,
week 2 for this team. So all the things we saying about
for
these
sure.
players, our homies, we only gonna get better as a team. So I really like the direction we're headed in. Who else
For
having a
sure.
name? Sir.
Sir.
Sir. What up, sir?
Yeah.
What do you like about
So
him? Big
so
body.
this the yeah for sure. This the first league we've been in with Sir. This probably
Yep.
like our fifth or sixth flag league, but this our second year with this specific organization.
He shows up to
So
practice.
he man for sure a team player for sure.
He's with it.
Big
He's bought
body,
in.
big body. You know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
definitely look forward to getting him more involved offensively. You know what I'm saying?
It'll
Defensively, he
happen.
almost got a pick. He almost got a pick last week. He
Yep.
had it. He had it, but it just didn't pan out that play. But definitely gaining trust, gaining comfortability with him on the field. And look forward to using him more.
Yes, sir. I think that covers our offense. Who did not name?
Nah, man, you.
Well, this come on, man. We ain't.
Nah, come on,
Come
speak
on,
on
man.
it. Speak
I
on
think
it.
I'm. Yeah, I think I'm all right, man. I think I think
Nah,
when I get the ball, I think I do some good things. I gotta catch the ball, man. I dropped. It was a tip touchdown, but that's no excuse because I touched it with 2 hands. Messed
yeah,
up one of your deep ball touchdowns. Perfect throw by you. Back of the end
yeah,
zone. Took him on a fly route. Got on my horse.
yeah,
The battle was won there. I gotta make that
yeah.
play. So
Nah, it'll be there though. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It'll be
man.
there.
I
It'll be
like
there.
being short intermediate routes, man.
Yeah,
I think I can. I think I can run, but I like what I can do with the rock. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Especially
We
if
just
we just
gotta
need
get
a
the
few
ball in your
yards,
hand. We
crunch
just gotta get the
yards.
ball in your hand. Smart player though. You know what I'm saying?
I try to
And
do
and
my
I'm
thing.
I'm I'm gonna speak on you like you ain't here. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Smart player, explosive.
Thank you.
Good speed. Definitely.
I got that name on the
Knows how to
team.
use leverage, you know what I'm saying, and just
Thank you.
makes the quarterback job just a lot easier, you know what I'm saying. And let me put this out there too, like I don't just walk around like I'm some quarterback. Like I play quarterback because bro, we don't have a quarterback, you know what I'm
But you
saying.
do
And
good.
then
You're the best at it on the team. You do a good
nah, for
job.
sure,
Throw the
I can
rock.
throw it, you know what I'm saying, but I ain't just like you know what I'm saying, Pat Mahomes or nothing, you know,
But
but
hey, that's
we
where I
get
stop
busy
you.
though. Nah,
That's
we
where I
get
stop
busy
you.
though.
Listen,
We get
man, you
busy
got
though.
and who's
We
counting?
get
We
busy
are.
though.
You have 10 touchdowns and 1 interception on the season, and the interception
Yeah,
probably could have been avoided if me and you was on the same
yeah,
page.
for
Uh,
sure. For
so
sure.
like, you know what I'm saying? You doing your thing at quarterback, making great plays. And these ain't like you throwing 5 yards. You got some dots, bro. Go check out the
Yeah, for
YouTube video
sure.
that I just mentioned on Big
For
Body
sure.
and continue to watch out for that where you can see these big plays that everybody's making. Shout out to the team, man. Big Body. The goal is to win it all, man. We, like he mentioned, this might be our fifth or sixth league. We are how can I we getting to the playoffs ain't nothing. We ain't never not at
Yeah,
least every league we've completed, we have gotten to a game away from the big dance, essentially. So
yeah.
this year, where we actually have our squad, everybody seems to be on the same page. We look to bring it in. So
Trying
stay
to.
tuned in.
Trying to get everybody on the same page at least.
Trying to get tuned in. My
But yeah,
baby's upstairs doing his thing, so I'm going to move. So I'm
so
about to go handle that.
no doubt.
Appreciate you. Hold on. I'm gonna edit that part out. Uh, Appreciate you for pulling up, talking ball. It's always good to get anybody else an insight. The draft is on the way, so this will be out before the draft. But like I said, man, got the quarterback who pulled up on me. Check out the Big Body channel to keep up with the flag football. We out.